Despite a pledge following the 2012 Olympic Games to increase female and state-educated athletes in British sports, it's been revealed that Team GB's diversity is actually decreasing. The proportion of Team GB athletes that were privately educated has risen from 20% in 2012 to 28% this year.
9 members of the team were educated at the same private school, Millfield, in Somerset. That's a larger number of athletes than the entire Olympic squad for Costa Rica, Sri Lanka and Pakistan. And it's not only state-educated athletes that are in decline, it's females too. Participation has fallen from 48% in the London Games to 45% this year.
Well, we're joined now by the British rower and Olympic gold silver medalist Mark Hunter and the CEO of UK Sport, Liz Nicholl. Morning to both of you. Although actually we'll start off with you, Liz, because we're trying to get to the bottom of these figures, aren't we? And you think that they're slightly misleading in the way that they're presented.
It's true that about 28% of athletes that are in Team GB this time round have gone through independent schools, but our records show that about half of those have also gone to state schools at some point on their journey. And I think this is a reflection of the fact that independent schools actually provide scholarships and bursaries to very talented athletes.
So they're being picked up and then they're being moved to the independent
So we can't
schools.
assume that the 28% are just from a different sector of society.
No, we can't, but I suppose there is a question mark and a concern there that if they hadn't got picked up, would they have flourished in the same way? And indeed, are there many youngsters in state school that don't know about scholarships, aren't able to go off to the other schools, that maybe never have the chance if they were given the sort of attention that private schools can give?
Well, I just say that in sport, individuals are selected on the basis of talent. And there's a very open process now of recruitment of talent into sports. Sports are getting much better at going beyond their membership and fishing in broader pools to get the very best talent to enable those individuals to succeed at the very highest level.
And Mark, what's your feeling on this? Because you were state-educated, you've got into rowing now, obviously, greatly successful at it. I know you're passionate about bringing others through as well.
Yeah, no, I think London was a unique experience, really. The Olympics came to our city, people got involved in sport, and I think the numbers for London, we were talking about earlier, you can't really use London example. You've got to use the Games before, which was Games away.
Is that because we were the hosts that year?
Yeah.
We got the opportunity to field,
so
people to play that we wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, that was a very unique Games, really.
Yes.
But, after I finished in London, I wanted to see more kids come from the environment I grew up in. I come from the East End, which doesn't really get associated with the sport.
So how did you first get into rowing then?
My dad introduced me to it. I went down to a local club on the Isle of Dogs called Poplar and Blackwall, went out in the water. That summer, watched the Olympic Games.
Why did your dad do it? I think that's, sorry to interrupt, but why did your dad think of it? Because I wonder if that's part of the problem, that if no one around you goes, have you thought of this, have you thought of this, you would never have gone, would you?
Well, I think that's part of the schools, like with the teachers they have in the kind of the state schools, is that it depends on what the teacher enjoys participating in. If they've got a love for a certain sport, you'll learn that sport or they'll spend more time on it.
Well, your dad loves it.
Well, that was a great thing, yeah. He enjoyed taking me rowing, and I tried numerous number of sports, but then I tried rowing, watched the Olympics that summer, got inspired by what I saw at the Olympic Games, and then I wanted to know what it felt like to be an Olympian, and that's where my journey started. So I understand the power of the images that you see at the Games and that can transform kids' lives, that sports maybe they never thought about before. It just opens up their horizons.
What about, Liz, the number of female competitors, though? Because the athletes have fallen by 3% since 2012. We've had a big campaign by Sport England, £10 million, This Girl Can, and yet it seems the number of women competing has gone down. Why is that, then?
Well, the number will always be proportionate to the women's event opportunities that there are in the Games environment. So the proportion of Team GB that are women actually does correlate really well to the number of women's events that there are, and number of women's events that
so in events that are available, women are competing and doing well in them. There aren't enough events.
It's about 44%. So, but the IOC is absolutely committed to driving equity across the programme of sports. So I think we'll see that percentage grow.
And how worried are you about the state of Rio at the moment? Construction's still going on. There are worries.
Bit of snagging, Charlotte. It's just a bit of snagging.
The worries about pollution, which is a little bit more than snagging, isn't it? It's kind of not much they can do about that one if the sailors or the swimmers get ill. Is it a worry for competitors? competitors?
Well, it is what it is, and athletes and Olympic associations are used to going into the Games environment and dealing with what's there and actually getting on with a focus on their competition. I think the Games, the actual competition venues are going to be terrific. What we see here in broadcast terms will be terrific. And we've got one of the best Olympic associations in the world in terms of managing the environment around athletes. So I think our team will cope with whatever very, very well indeed.
I think that's the thing. When you get out there as an athlete, you're in your bubble for your sport. You won't be watching what's going on. You know, your venue's ready to go. You're there to do a job.
You won't be looking at the carpentry details.
No,
That's what you're
exactly.
thinking.
You know, for my sport, you're looking at the course, make sure the boys are there, which they're ready to go. And you're totally focused on delivering your performance. And the BOA is exceptional at making sure that you are ready to go as an athlete.
And if the Queen were to be so bold as to arrive with her large sword, tap you on the shoulder, arise Sir Andy?
I don't think you know until something like that happens, but it would obviously be, it would be amazing to be recognised